Hi guys, and really super quick announcement. There is a promo, buy 3 get 1 free. So basically, as it says, buy 3 readings of any kind. You want half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and then you're going to basically hear from me, and I'm going to send you 4 coupons that you can use and kind of like for your readings. So whichever way you want to space them out, or some people probably would want to use kind of like a full range of the things that I have, past lives, karma, and fly on the wall kind of a thing, to kind of like have it for the future. It is really good for people who really want deeper clarity, who want to kind of like really take advantage of, like, I mean, this is a huge saving, and who really want to get to the bottom of some issues, especially if you need me to do some kind of detective work for you, because that can be done with tarot. Second announcement is that I'm actually cooking something on my website as well, and here you go. This is a big excitement, big announcement. So this is my website, guys. Sure, you can go there if you need to order anything, so you can kind of have all these options, or learn a little bit more about my tarot school, or learn about kind of like different things, or have kind of like blurbs from me. But what is really new thing over here is, ta-da, free tarot reading. So basically what's happening here, you can just choose whatever kind of like suits you over here. Like, I mean, there are a few options right now. Shuffle the cards, think about your question, shuffle, and you have like 3 cards that you need to get, and then you get the answer. This is like quick go-to. This is not intuitive reading. Of course, it's a computer generated, and it explains card per card. Sometimes, like, I mean, one card like this one can completely kind of like change the whole width of it, right? And so that for that kind of like reason, it's always good to get a reading with me. Now guys, also there will be possibly something specially made for people who are on my newsletter. So you just scroll on the bottom of any page, click on get to the mailing list, and just like enter your stuff and subscribe, and that's all that is needed to be done. So hopefully you can take advantage of that and enjoy it. They're like really detailed descriptions, took lots of time and effort to do that, and would love to get your comments about it and to see if you're as excited as I am. You can find all this information, my email, if you want to contact me. Let's talk, let's discuss. And don't forget, guys, on the videos that is still click contest going on, the sign that has most views, most clicks, most comments is going to be getting their readings in the future first, on weeklies, on monthlies, on X readings. So keep doing at it. Like, I mean, last month Cancer was the dead last, and then went to freaking on the top. I think they're just like a few days short of winning over Leo. So it is kind of like strength and persistence. So guys, set your goals and go there, and I'm looking forward to hearing your comments. Love you. So let's just jump right in. So you got 10 of Pentacles. So 10 of Pentacles to me is just like what you had there in 5 of Pentacles. It's more like kind of like very kind of like sober reflection on your life, on your family. Where are you in this whole process? Where are you all in the system? It is like really talking about so much about wills, about windfalls, inheritance, parents, you know, inherited issues, ancestry, like family, home, stability, marriage, right? Prenuptials or something like that. And also you have like this beautiful King of Cups to boot over here, right? So this card really can kind of like be so many different things on so many levels, but it did come reversed, right? So as much as it represents solid foundation, everything freaking works out. When this kind of like really talks about, it's kind of like instability, just like what we saw in this like jumpers, and I told you, right? So it also could be some element of dishonesty, and it's kind of like telling you, like, just make sure you stay clear of any illegal or shady activities, because that will not go well for you, right? So it can actually signify family feuds, and you're really family buddy, and it could actually really talk about there are some issues in the family. So it could be domestic disputes, or it could be issues with the will, right? Or somebody who you really hoped would do something is really, really not coming through. So it can really talk about that, right? This can also talk about breaking with traditions. It's also talking about that maybe, your aspiration was getting married, having this forever, live happily forever after, like, etc., etc., and so on and so on. But, maybe you're abandoning this. Maybe also this can tells me that some people are abandoning solid relationship, marriage, in order to chase love, right? So there is like something that is getting to that point, right? So it also can talk about that somebody is neglecting relationship. It can go the other way, like, in order to pursue materialistic kind of like things, right? I also think there will be lots of questions. Is this relationship stable in the long term? And just like what we saw with the Lover's card, right? And that could mean like something unconventional or non-traditional that can really, really go. Now, when this reverses, maybe you're marrying with someone who is gentle, who is kind, but there's like not fireworks. So, but the dude or the girl has, good family, or you're saying to yourself, well, I tried and I seeked and I looked, but that's all I have. Or somebody already has a kid together, now deciding, okay, well, we'll get together, that kind of like stuff. It's kind of like really telling me that there is one partner who is not sold. It's kind of like if you had $1 billion, that's not going to be your choice, kind of a thing, right? Again, it can really talk about that instability, right? Now, if you are really thinking about your business empire or like job, etc., this can also talk about that can be a risky move over here, risky business, literally, right? This talks about those of you more or less who are working for a company that is kind of traditional, conventional, and can actually talk about that this company, just like to shock to everybody, is having like huge losses or debts or even bankruptcy, right? And that you cannot even get your pay. So be very careful, kind of like, check your savings. You guys are really, really good with that, right? So also, this can represent new money. It can also represent somebody faking money and wealth, like when they put a Rolex watch and they dress very well in order to kind of like fish, right? What they call them, catfish, right? Things like that. So be very careful on these kind of like deals. I even had readings for people who were asking me almost like solid questions. Well, when will I marry this guy and blah, blah, blah. And since, I don't know if you know my readings, I actually don't like people to give me their life story just because they can actually figure out, oh my goodness, this cat is good, right? And then I tell them, of course, since I don't know it, I might use different terminology, but your life, you will put it together. This one woman in particular said to her, okay, I know that you asked me, you gave me the birthday of this person, you gave me everything, but I'm not feeling this is a person. I'm not getting the energy. I said, are you sure? And then when I do the reading, then I ask you, okay, fill me in. Now I need to know, because I really want to put like meanings, and that's how I actually add layers and layers. So in this case, I was telling this woman, just, ask this dude for a passport or something, because it was somebody in a different country, and let's go from there. And just like when you ask for a passport, like make sure it's done immediately, not kind of like give them time to Photoshop something or not. And she's like, oh, he just vanished, right? Because I really felt it was like somebody who just, honestly, I had no energy whatsoever. Flat. It's just like, did you ever try to drink Coke and then you get it, it's flat? That's kind of how I felt. So spiritually, guys, also, and I'm going to leave these two guys out, it kind of can indicate that something is blocking you, that you feel there's like still some hurdle, something that you need to defend, that is blocking you from experiencing that true fulfillment, right? Maybe you are too focused on what I need to obtain, money, kind of a thing, to the point of that's all that matters. That usually talks about person who been through thick and thin, right? And if that's the issue, you really need to refocus on your like true inner spirit, because that's the only way you'll find happiness, right? I really think that it's really going to be important in this particular time to be open to conventional and non-conventional, to kind of like be open to exploration, because you will have choices and you need to give yourself those choices, right? So be open to it, and let's see how this really goes, and let's go from there. Wow. Well, I'm not surprised. Choices, 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 choices. Like this freaking video should like really be named. Like, what is your choice, Snow White, kind of a thing. Choices again. I don't know what to choose. Leave me alone. Oh my God. And this is clearly choice between the head or the heart. We keep seeing that motive keeps repeating, keeps repeating. Let me zoom this out so you can kind of see more of a table at the stage. So there is another ground, and there is like, I mean, Queen of Wands. You had that like king, and maybe this is just simply the King of Wands that we had was reversed, nonetheless, was maybe bad taste in the mouth. So maybe you're ready to move and shake. Maybe you're ready to start kind of like jumping in the dating. Maybe you are lurking into cat tarot readings and saying, okay, let's see what's fun. And I urge you not to use my tarot readings for make you feel good. I am not a sweet talking tarot reader. I tell you what I see. I tell you like what you need to do when you need to get off your butt. But I also tell you, you know what, like there's like something wonderful happening, right? So when I see this card, Queen of Wands, to me it's really talking about, telling you like, yeah, you can do it, whatever you want. Have courage, live your own life. Don't, maybe your family is trying to ordain you what you need to do. Maybe friends, or you wouldn't choose him, and like you are not really exploring enough kind of like dating because other people you think might not really, let's say, agree with this, and that's maybe it's going to be that unconventional thing, kind of like abandoning, right? This also means sometimes dating after a breakup, kind of like you're ready, or you're thinking it's completely senseless that you were sitting on a kind of like sides and not dating. So you're saying, well, you know what, I'm kind of like going into kind of like new things. I really want to see what's happening. So we're going to see where this Queen of Wands is taking us, because that's a dating diva for sure. So your past is going to tell me about it, and yes, we are getting certain kind of like information over here, right? So there is like this thing where you felt, okay, you felt at some point very secure to kind of like go further, go forward, but maybe you feel that what you found is not exactly what you wanted, right? So Nine of Pentacles, to me, it's a really good card, but it also talks about somebody who, let's say, you're happy on your own, right? It's kind of like, talking about humoring life, right? It's kind of like a winning and luck and getting your pedicures. Maybe you simply don't like being married. This could be like really describing a newlywed and somebody who like dating scene. Like, I hate dating scene. Like, who the hell would want and like dating scene? Like, tell me, like, is something wrong with me? Like, it's so awkward. Or maybe if you're dating for a while in a serious relationship, when you know what to expect, but like first dates and meeting new people to me is nerve-wracking. Not because I'm shy, just because it's so weird, right? Maybe you simply kind of like felt, hey, you know what, I kind of like really like this past. I kind of like really liked where I was, right? Versus kind of like going in completely different direction. So Nine of Pentacles also sometimes describes a person who is fully self-sufficient. So some of you who maybe lost that sufficiency, maybe you feel now being in a relationship that is kind of like pressing you too much, and you cannot have all these luxuries that you wanted to have, or like, this appreciation, and it's maybe going to be just simply adjustment period. So let's see how that really happens. But this is really something that you need to kind of like figure out. If you really have been happy in the past and you have been so happy, why did you push it forward? And like, you see, it was always there, like something that we try to jump through the hoops or get somewhere else. So let me see what is above you, what you think you're going to get. Oh my goodness. Somebody's chicken. Don't be a chicken, Cancer, right? Look at this dude on Ten of Swords. And in this deck, we don't have the night. We don't have the darkness. Everything is out in the open. I mean, we have these two tens. It's clearly, it's a new beginning, but it's a new beginning that needs to kind of like complete something from the past. It's something that is built up, right? It's the next level. It's something that you just cannot jump in. This can also mean meeting a new person who is somehow kind of like sending you these vibrations or resonance from maybe somebody in the past that you met, and there it goes, well, I don't know if we should go for it, and that kind of stuff, right? You know, with all these swords in there, like nobody is really happy to see this card. But this card is having a huge silver lining, and you can see these clouds with silver linings over here, right? It's basically telling us that, you know, you just simply need to be prepared, and not everything in life turns out as kind of like we envision, right? Sometimes we need to face disappointment, right? And maybe you're just simply experiencing lots of stress and you need to deal with that. I mean, I see here a lot. I see some of you joining and dating and having a couple of options, and some options are looking kind of like better than the others. Some people looking good on the paper, but you don't feel the chemistry. Some people you feel chemistry, but like you think, oh my god, looks is great, I would like to jump his bones, but he's a freaking loser, and what if I fall in love and I'll be entangled into kind of like this stuff, right? But if I tell you that you're in control, like, I mean, you really will need to trust yourself and kind of like go with that, right? So immediately ahead of you, it's like, again, some disappointment. Five of Cups, and remember you had Five of Pentacles over there. It's kind of like, yeah, actually, even though this card should be about disappointment, look at in this deck, she doesn't look to me overly disappointed. It just, oh my gosh, she didn't get me my peppermint tea, and why am I drinking chamomile? I'm not kind of like really into it, kind of a thing. It kind of clearly shows that she kind of like had her share of collecting. Also, this could be simply kind of like a widow's tears, you know, like this widow's, what they call it, peak, where you get on the top of the building. You were supposed to cry after your night, after your husband who went into the battle, and most of these cries, because they would evaporate, would end up being just salted water. And so I really think that this here is a story about, you know, that there are certain things in the past and kind of going in the future. We cannot wrong other people for our experiences. We have to simply face our own music. Well, we have been all cheated. We have, hopefully you haven't been, let's say not all. And then like you carry that burden, and then you're like untrusting of the other people. To some point, to something, it doesn't make sense. But other than that, like, I mean, person is feeling like, what have I done to you that you don't trust me, kind of a thing, right? This can actually simply talk about nostalgia. Like, now this is mirroring and looking this back. Maybe it's simply kind of like this, kind of like trying to see how do I get it better, you know. But, and again, Cancers, you sometimes get into these kind of like, oh man, like, I mean, checking your old diaries and stuff, and it happens. So think through about that, right? If you're really realistic here, or like something that you are really provoking within yourself. But it could be simply that you're feeling, I'm never really kind of like gluing things together. Why are stars not lining up? So let's see like how this all feels and kind of like works inside of you. What's going to be happening this month? Look at his pentacles. Look at, there is another 7. We have 7 of Wands, and I really think this is pretty cool. Like, you're like, look at this beautiful lavender bush over here that she is hugging. So clearly to me it talks about memories of the past. Whenever we feel some scent, it can trigger. It's almost like somebody push buttons inside of us, inside of our memory. Seven of Pentacles to me always talks about the building, right? It's kind of like harvest time. So it is what it is, you know? Like, I mean, we are harvesting what is really available. But in order to harvest, we also need to let fruit ripen, right? So this is really a card that talks about patience. It's again linking to that spiritual progress and that goal and kind of like going toward that, right? Maybe it's not really happening with the speed that you want to happen. Maybe it is really telling you like be patient, don't kind of like freak out, because I really think you really want to go there, but it looks like that you tried a few times to kind of like push it. It's almost like you're trying to force it in some case. Maybe you think you need to make a decision. Maybe in reality you don't have to make this decision. So that is going to be really interesting. Let's see your reality check. Your oh my goodness, your environment. You're having the Knight of Wands, and look at this knight. He is walking. He's not on the horse, and it is to me very unusual for the Sagittarian energy, like somebody who knows a lot about lots of things. This person is not really superficial. There is like somebody coming, like, I mean, you have like this King of Cups who is a really good dude, but you kind of like more or less feel like I can really open my heart to this person, but I don't really jump in bed with you, right? Where this guy, you feel like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, yeah, I really feel this, like right to your water, this is fire, and fire and water, it's steam kind of a thing. Something really works out. But then you go back to, ooh, I have been there before. Ooh, that maybe didn't end well, or didn't end well. Some of you might be experiencing codependent relationships where, you know, you're having a difficult time once in your relationship because you feel that you have to make it work, and it's very hard to let it go, even though it's still early relationship, even though you still don't know the partner very well, but it feels like, oh my gosh, like I'm having hurt too many times, and this is going to just crash my heart that they managed to patch together. So this is also very important to understand that, hey, you're dealing with somebody who is like super interesting, but you're like kind of like almost like, let's call it wagering against kind of like how you really want to deal with this, right? Because you're dealing with somebody who's telling you, well, you know, I want it all, but this person doesn't necessarily stay. This person is interesting, but they are doing things on their own terms, and sometimes that can indicate kind of like a one night stand, right? But it's going to be something very intense, and you will be facing some extremely intense energy this month. That is for sure. Hopes and fears. And now this is interesting because we see there is this exes and codependencies and choices. Again, look at that. These two cards are like the same, they're two sides of the same coin, right? And we were talking about choices and choices that are good for you. And here I was just talking to you about this codependency, about like the issues and maybe the reasons why you're really stuck and you're like just going right down in a ditch, and you're not even starting the things which really you should, because there'll be lots of options. In fact, I really don't think like this kind of like feeling grounded. Maybe you feel it because you are water sign. You say, I really need to feel it, I need to feel it, but then everybody around you is saying any of that crap. Oh, you're too old, you don't have this many choices, you need to settle, you need to do this, so you're too picky, or maybe your list is too long and you're asking for impossible, and you're saying to yourself, well, I will settle, blah 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 blah, and like, you know, all these blah 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 messages. You need to freaking shut down that radio and just like see what you want and just see how you go about it. And I really think you just go back to it. Look, I really need to be patient. I have been doing things that have been really good for me. I have to reassess which people are good in my life, including the people who are interesting in your life, because this is what this is talking about. Like, I mean, Devil card is ultimately this card that kind of like messes you up. Somebody waltzes in your life and you know that you shouldn't be with them. You know that maybe they have a baggage. You know, like, oh my freaking God, you know, like, what am I doing with this, right? But, you know, this is kind of like really talking about maybe that there's like somebody you meet who is like equally genius but equally reckless, or there's like somebody who has an ex or some third party in the picture, and they're like really dealing with this, right? Temptation, But this can also talk, guys, tons of sex, like sizzling hot sex. Was it weak? Like, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey? Like you will have like 1,000 shades of gray or something like that, right? So just be careful about addictions, drinking in excess, because that's going to be party time over here. So guys, sex, sex, sex. And that's going toward a new beginning. And here we have, like, you're turning this page, you're making this choice, you're realizing there's like something that maybe you need to compromise, but there's like something that is like, I mean, long term. Like, you see, we have a 10 here. You had this, like, you hit this like brick wall before, you felt this pain before, you felt doubt before, but you're not really feeling it this way. So let me grab this rune that I actually also picked for you when I was meditating for you, and you have like this rune, which I don't know how much you guys know me. I have my own names for runes because I just don't really want to learn Nordic, and to me this is like Chantilly lace, but it's really in reality called Ingus. It is the rune of potential, right? And it is really a rune of great potential. It's kind of like symbolically connected to health and to well-being and fertility, in particular for men. So ladies, make a dollar investment if you really don't want to kind of like devote, like, I mean, 20 years or 40 years of your life. So this is a good rune that can actually add a little bit to this reading. And this maybe could be also that some of you are seeking for a job, and some of you maybe have been self-employed and then kind of like decided, okay, maybe being a contractor is easier, you got a position, and then kind of like that's maybe not working out for some reason, your heart is not into this. Actually can be interpreted that way, but it's also clearly stating, like as I mentioned before, that for a new start that changes your life, both in your love life and in business, that all business must be completed, right? You will have to make this conscious decision. Yeah, I know it's going to be really tough. It's choices, 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 right? And you will actually have to close the door on one phase of your life entirely. This is my favorite ace. It's kind of like opening this door that is like something long term, putting that seed that 30 years from now is going to be this big tree that you're going to look into that and, like, I mean, worship kind of a thing, right? So yeah, periods like this that you're going to have this month, it's kind of like fraught with great anxiety and kind of like, oh my gosh, am I going in the right direction, kind of a thing. I can see that, right? But when my Chantilly lace shows up, the true wisdom of that is like, don't worry, right? This room promises there are going to be plenty of opportunities to replace something that maybe has been gone, right? And it's going to not only replace it, but replace it with something better, right? So this is like no regrets rune, and it's a really good place in life. And take it for somebody who's like getting into mid-40s kind of a thing, right? Also, if you guys are dealing, let's say, with a situation and like you're dealing with kind of like a decision that you need to problem solve kind of a thing, or maybe you were like, oh my gosh, you kind of like say, I'll do this, and then you have to jump through the hoops and go the other one. This is like really telling me that you are possibly really close to the issue. You cannot see the forest because the tree is right here, so of course you see nothing. You simply have to kind of like ignore a matter for a while and give yourself a little space. So, you need to see this whole picture, right? So only then you're going to realize an answer is going to be really obvious at that time, right? So sometimes also some of you, I guess, maybe will go on vacation and have like this extremely flirtatious energy over there, and you will regain some kind of like sense of perspective. So let me also pull the card for you. I don't know, do I need to look into anything in particular? I think it's really clear. It's going to be outdoor choices. And let me just get this like one more thing that can give you some additional advice and additional information. Okay, for my Cancers, number 2, and I'm going to get this one. And you're getting details. I love this card, and look at that. and it was reversed. And in the reversed one, we are seeing clarity is important, right? And I really think that's what you're trying to do all along. So let me read this for you. I'm going to keep it upright because it's much easier to look at it. So this is what it says. Heed the gentle warning that perfectionism will not lead you to what you desire, but instead will steer you away from it. Nothing will be good enough when you become obsessed with being perfect. No one can ever measure up to your scrutiny, and nothing that you can ever do will assuage you the general feeling of not being up to par. You are perfect already, just as you are. Reversed, the details card challenges you to accept things as they are in all their imperfections, to step into the world and engage it without any expectations. You're exactly where you are supposed to be. So my dear Cancer, this is a good reading. It's not going to be easy going through this month, but at the end of it, you're going to feel newborn. You're going to feel refreshed, and you're going to feel that you're seeing things from a completely different standpoint. So please click, please share, come to my website, kind of like peek into that, have like all these questions for yourself. And also, guys, to get the reading from me, check cattarot.ca, and or just in the description you have all my details. And do not forget that you should also check your ascendant, and you should check your moon sign to get more information from the general reading. So Cancers, God bless you, because you guys have been really working hard to get this reading, and I really hope it finds you well. So I'm looking forward to your comments, and you know that I love you, and until the next time, all the best.